Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another showcase episode. We're going to basically be going all over the Dynamite this time, and I know it was brought out earlier, but unfortunately they removed it within like 54 minutes, I think it was, of being in the game. I think that's a world record for Fortnite, but they brought it back now, and we're going to give you all of the details you're going to need. Now, starting off with the basics, you can find it in piles of 3 from pretty much anything: supply drops, llamas, floor loot, chests, and in your inventory it's a maximum of 10 stacked per inventory slot. In terms of the inventory description, it doesn't actually read as much, just 70 damage per second, so you know it does 70 damage to players, but against structures it does a whole lot more. Now, in terms of the timer on when it detonates, it's a total of 6 seconds. 5 seconds is the trigger time, and then you have 1 second before it actually sparks and detonates. So you can use that to your advantage, but we're going to get into that later on. For now, we're going to go over some measurements: how far you can throw it, how big the explosion is, little things like that, which are really going to help you on the long run. As you can see, I've gone into Playground and I've basically set up my own little science lab with different ways of measuring things, so I hope you appreciate the effort and like the video. But as you can see, for distance, the furthest it can be thrown is a total of 6 squares. I went from throwing it straight all the way to max height, looking directly up, and the furthest it will reach is 6 squares. And the good thing about this is even if you're throwing directly up, it still arches forward a bit, and it won't go near enough to you to damage you. Basically, if you throw it directly up and it comes back down, it's still going to be far enough away from you that it doesn't cause damage. Now, in terms of throwing it upwards, it's not actually that high. This is a very heavy device with like 3 dynamite sticks all attached together. It's not a grenade or a sticky, so its height and its length is a lot shorter. For a dynamite, the highest you can throw it is 4 stories high, which is pretty perfect actually for those people that love to sit up in their 1x1s all game, just waiting for the circles to spawn on them. If you manage to sneak up on them, you can like arch it perfectly just over when you're facing directly upwards, and it will arch straight down into it and get that explosion. The only problem with it at the moment is a lot of people are struggling to get those kills because they're not timing the dynamite stick correctly, and people just jump out or run away in time before it actually detonates. We're going to go over that a little bit later, but right now I'm wondering how big of an explosion this actually does, like in terms of how high is the explosion, how wide is the explosion. So we're going back to a few more of our measurements here, and we're testing it out with a massive base. It took me a few tries to get the exact measurement on this, and it is actually a massive 4x4. It's ridiculous. Like, it actually takes out such a massive area if you get it positioned correctly. So that's the width, the x-axis. We're going to go onto the y-axis now, see how high it does. And we saw with the 1x1 earlier, it only destroyed like 2 sections of it. It didn't destroy the entire bottom area of it. So I'm wondering how high the explosion is, and it really isn't that high. You see, it does the 4 wide, but it only goes 1 up and 1 down. I tried to do it halfway on a wall to see if it would get that wall and then the one above it and the one below it, but it still doesn't. It just prioritizes the one above it, and it only takes out 2 high. So what I've done now is I've filled up every single space within this 3x3, which is 2 high, to see if it will take out the entire middle area. And sure enough, it leaves that roof, it leaves the floor, it takes out the 2 high and clears out everything inside, and even takes out a few walls from where it managed to reach that 4 wide section. Something else I wanted to cover in my little explosive stage arena I have here is, can it be shot? Because I know with the C4 you can shoot it and detonate it earlier, and unfortunately you can't. I know sniper bullets and AR bullets sometimes register differently, like you can shoot through gaps and stuff. So I thought I'd test different weapons out, and unfortunately no, you can't detonate it by shooting it. You just have to wait for the timer to go off. And coming back to that timer, as I said, it is a 5-second like fuse, and then it triggers and you have 1 second to throw it. So it's a total of 6 seconds. As you can see on that 5th second, this is what will happen, and you have 1 second before that fully detonates. And this is where you can really like practice with it and learn to use it to your advantage, because you can learn to time it. You can get those explosions like exactly when you want. You see it in other games like PUBG and stuff. They're cocking grenades at the perfect time. So this is going to give you that opportunity to kill people with the dynamite before they run away from the timer, which is what most people are doing at the moment. They're just throwing the dynamite in and hoping the enemy doesn't run away. Now, the last thing I wanted to cover was how far away you have to be from the explosion to not get damage, and the answer is you have to be 1 block and 3/4 away from the explosion. So right then you saw I was exactly in between those 2 squares. Now I've gone a bit closer and I'm actually 1 block and just over half, and that damages me. So as long as I'm over 1 3/4 blocks away, I'm safe. Just over 1.5, it'll still damage you. But that has been it on the Dynamite showcase. I hope you enjoyed the video and appreciate the effort I went into it. But other than that, I hope to see you next time. I'd love to do with this emotes and dances and new things like that, but unfortunately that costs a lot of money. So maybe later down the road. But other than that, I hope you have an awesome day.